All right. The next part of your column is something that fits into what we talk about all the time about owners going for that final buck that they can squeeze out of a radio station. And that's happened in San Francisco at a legendary radio station. And maybe we can expect it here locally as well. Tell us about what's going on at KGO.
I'm actually surprised they didn't do it here first, to be honest, because I think KABC has less to lose in a sense from ratings and listenership. But they basically took KGO in San Francisco, took their news talk format. They took a radio station that was a news talk and just kind of totally blew it out of the water. In one day, I think they gave just a couple hours notice for the host to say goodbye, and then they kind of stunted over the next few days before the launch of their new all sports betting format.
Yeah, there are air checks out there of the when it changed over, and it seems like the people that were on the air at the time they changed over didn't even get much warning there, because you can hear they're talking about something, and then suddenly there's some silence, and the host says something about, well, I guess we got to go here now. And then they go into this announcement that they're changing over. So yeah. It was just a weird changeover, you know. I've
never understood stations that do that. I mean, I kind of understand the idea of you don't want to give your competition a leg up or whatever like that. But, you know, Dave, you had your station go off the air. They went off. They actually did a sign off for about 8 months because you never knew what was going on.
Yeah, we didn't know when they were going to pull the plug, so we started a little earlier than we maybe in hindsight could have. But it was a long swan song. It truly was. It was hard to. It was. I remember at the time thinking, God, this is like come to work at a never-ending funeral every day. It's it got a little depressing at times. But as I told the staff when it all started to go down, I said, this isn't about ratings anymore. This is about legacy. And so we had fun milking it for that.
And you did a great job of that. Everybody will remember the last day of the sound. And I don't know that they're going to remember the last day of KGO though.
It'll bring back anger. People still have fond memories of the sound. And it's funny. I don't know why stations do that. Why not give a chance for these people to sign off? They're going to want to get another job anyway, so they're not going to do anything stupid. So let them do it, especially when you're changing formats totally into something like this where it's pretty much only syndicated and other, I always look at it as, if Jim Rome is your big appeal, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, and again, this matches what we talked about how station owners really don't care anymore. They just are trying to milk the last dime out of a station that they possibly can. And do you expect this at KABC?
I don't know for sure, because I really don't know what Cumulus's decision will be with KABC long term, if they're planning on selling it or doing something else. But it's been rumored for a while, so it wouldn't surprise me one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's interesting that ratings, and this can be said about the underperforming stations like a KGO and about the top-rated stations as well. Ratings just don't matter as much as they used to. And these companies are investing less in their top-rated stations as well in terms of what they put into the programming. A lot of times, look at K-Rock in the past couple of years. They've clearly been trying to save their way to profitability, greater profitability, and starting with all the cutbacks on the Kevin and Bean show and not finding a way to get those guys re-signed, and it's sad to see the medium spend less on product, even for top stations.
It could be a good thing in a weird way, because radio needs to invent itself again anyway. So if we can get the dead wood out of the way, this is one way to do it. In all these formats, certainly they're not going to last. There's not going to be any listeners left to the band. So the creative people will come back and do something with it. It's kind of like a renaissance of a bad area of town.
Or the other problem would be is that the owners just turn the licenses in, like we reported on it in Colorado. So
sports is interesting because it and sports betting would be, this would be true of sports betting too. It's really not about ratings at all. There are lots of advertisers that want to be on those games and on those shows, either for vanity's sake or because they want the association. They don't want their competitor to be the beer that is on those shows and on those events. And I know of many situations where you've got a sports station in a market that's ranked, 12th, 15th, whatever, and it's outbilling stations that are in the top 5. Yeah.
There you go.
That's amazing. That's
it is. But over the long term, that can't be healthy. It just can't be.
Not good for the medium over the long term. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.